Hey, here we go, everyone. Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. You are all here for your ultimate media breakthrough. So I'm very excited to share some incredible information with you today. And we are literally just going to dive right in because I have a lot to give to you. And we're going to maximize our time together today. So feel free if you want to say hello. It's always great to see who's here and where you're tuning in from. And if you do have questions, please save them to the end. And we will see if we can have a little time to answer some questions at the end. So today you are here for the Ultimate Media Breakthrough, and we are going to hop into screen share so we can get you what you came here for. Here we go. Just one moment as I get this set up. Okay, here we go. And we are going into presentation mode. Fantastic. Okay, so as we said, you are here today for the Ultimate Media Breakthrough. You are here ideally because you're looking to unlock your visibility. You're looking for more of that impact, income, and influence for you in the work you are doing in the world. Now, I wanted to start out by quickly sharing a story with you about a project, one of the first projects I worked on in the PR world over 2 decades ago, which was the Blair Witch Project. Now, this project is still to this day one of the most profitable, I think the most profitable independent film ever made. Now, why is that so? It was the power of their positioning. What is positioning? That is how you present yourself to the world. How do you want to be seen and known out in the world and the story that you are telling? So because these filmmakers had put together such an incredible story about these missing filmmakers, that story caught like wildfire and everyone thought it was real. It was actually not real, but it became a worldwide phenomenon. So this is one of the first film projects I ever worked on when I came to Hollywood over 2 decades ago. So I just want to show you the impact and the power of what we're talking about today. Okay, we'll keep moving along here. All right. So you're all here likely because you are looking to become known in your space as an industry leader, right? Someone that wants to be known by your peers and the public at large for what you're doing in the world. And these are just some of the household names that I've worked with over the years. And everything you could imagine, I always say I've PR'd it. Global leaders, right? Like being known, either a lot of you are consultants or creatives, right? So getting to that point where you hit the pinnacle of success and are known in a very big way for what you do in the world. Just some examples of some of the events and people: Grammy, Oscar winners, political leaders, rock and roll Hall of Famers, celebrities that I've worked with over the years here as well. So you are here because you're wanting to elevate your online presence, you want to reach more people, and you want to make a bigger impact in the world. So we're going to cover 3 keys today, and you're going to have to bear with me because I'm going to move quickly because I want to make sure I give you as much of the goodness as possible in our time together. So take good notes, and if you have questions, again, save those for the end. Okay, so for today, we have key number 1. We're going to ignite your positioning and press power. We're going to talk about how that's done. Key number 2, we're going to find and overcome your visibility blind spots, or the things that might be stopping you and holding you back from getting the visibility you want. And we're going to look at setting and launching your PR action plan. So what the story that I would like to tell, and you're going to see a lot of these faces today, is that if my clients can go from invisible to on purpose, lit up, and omnipresent during a global crisis, you can too. I've had a lot of people working with me these last couple of years within this system that I have created to help them get the visibility they are seeking. They are going from local to global. We'll start off with just one example here of Rebecca, a life coach who took her regional business virtual. I helped her bring her analog business online and global. She raised her prices, got herself on TV news. She was also tapped by a media company to be a paid podcast host. How many people would like that, right? And also landed her first book publishing deal and now has a thriving brand, Healing is Possible brand. So today I want you to know that you can leave here knowing what it takes to get more visibility so that you can reach those people, those new sets of eyes with your message or your movement and boost your authority and your credibility. And who does this work for? This really is for just about anyone who has a message, a product, a service, a movement, whatever it is that you're doing in the world, you are looking to get more eyes on that thing. And, that's everyone from small business owners to consultants, creatives, right? We have a lot of actors here in our community, a lot of coaches. So whatever it is you're doing, authors, speakers, this is something that works for you. And the key to all of this is my 6 pillars to shine online. This is a surefire system that I've created after I've now been in doing PR and marketing for 25 years. So I started creating this system about 2 years ago. And if you're wondering who I am, I see some familiar people here. I know a lot of you know me already. If you don't, my background is as an award-winning publicist and a visibility business coach. And I work with my clients to help them monetize their magic, really magnetize their audience, increase their income, and have the profound transformation that goes along with becoming more visible in your work and in the world. And I've used this work for many years for myself, for my clients. I've been featured in many places. My clients have been featured in many top tier places, you name it. It's probably at some point, it's probably happened for me or one of my clients. And these are just a few examples of some of those outlets. And really today, this is about wanting to know, what are you taking a stand for? So I personally take a stand for heart-centered and purpose-driven business owners to take empowered action to claim their place on the global stage to impact the world with their messages and their movements, right? So this is about you getting yourself out there in that bigger way. And the world is really waiting for you and your gifts, the thing that you do and only the way you can do it. And the beautiful thing is you actually can be compensated for this. People actually want to pay you for the thing that you do. And this is also about your legacy, right? So this is how you can be seen and stand out, especially now more than ever. That's so important. Since the pandemic, everyone has gone online, right? So there's a lot more clutter. There's always been a lot of clutter online. So it's really important that you do find that way to stand out so that you can make that bigger impact, more money, and change lives for the better. At the end of the day, this is about you being of service with what you're doing in the world. So what is the most important thing at this point is to really know that to start this journey, you first have to really believe in yourself and your vision, and that it's actually possible for you. And then we have to commit to a plan and implement it, right? That's, the two things coming together of the vision and the plan. So a new mantra I want you to be telling to yourself is more results with less effort, right? That's the power of this visibility and PR work, that when you put some really targeted, focused time and energy into this work, the results can really amplify all the goodness in your life, the opportunities, the things coming into you, whether it's getting hired, getting gigs, right? Getting more clients, being booked to do more things, whether if you're wanting to speak, getting those paid speaking gigs, whatever it is. And a great place to start, a lot of you who are in my community do know your visibility archetype because you've probably taken my quiz, but if not, go ahead to shinesuperpower.com after this call today, and you can go and check out to find out what your visibility archetype is. that will definitely help us identify what is going to be the best path for you in terms of how you're putting yourself out there, because it is very different for many people. It's not the same for every person. Okay, so what we want to do now is dive into key number 1, igniting your press power. So the key to know in this fact is that press are actually seeking you now. And the mainstream media can be a really powerful way to catapult yourself and your business into the stratosphere. So there are a lot of ways to get visible. And one of them absolutely is that the press are seeking you and looking to cover people just like yourself, right? If you're an expert, a visionary, whatever it is that you're doing, you have something that someone out there is interested in covering. So the mainstream spotlight, as you know, having my background in PR, this is a very important area that we focus on with the media, the mainstream media, getting you into those places like magazines, newspapers, radio, TV, the places that give that cachet when you put yourself out there, right? These are some of the top ways to get that credibility and have that third-party stamp of approval for what you're doing in the world. So this is really about growing your authority and your audience. You can go way beyond your current circle or network when you appear in the media. And this also gets you seen as the leading go-to expert, right? Not just by the industry in your niche, but also the public at large. So this is how your ideal audience can start to come and find you instead of you struggling to find them. So I've had a lot of clients going through this experience of going from local to global. Here's another example of an Emmy-winning producer and actress, Laurel, who landed her dream press win in Variety. We walked her through landing an exclusive in International Variety about her film that was in a major festival. And she's now been able to use that to leverage to go for investors for her production company and her other consulting business, which I also helped her go and create another whole revenue stream using her gifts and talents. Now, it's important to know that there are 3 types of media. There's your own, right? Your own platforms, what we think of when we talk about like our own social media and digital platforms. There's new media, right? Blogs and podcasts would fall under that. And then you have mainstream. So again, going back to those traditional media outlets that we think of that have that big cachet, right? Appearing on, a TV show, like your favorite morning show, or in a major newspaper, or your favorite magazine, right? Those are the places that we really want to start building you up to. So first and foremost, you have to know what your vision is. What would a dream win be for you? So you can think about that. You can write it down if you want to pop it in the chat. Would it be, what media win would be really big for you, right? Is it appearing in some sort of a show, a magazine, right? What are you known for when they're writing about you, right? So being able to have that clarity of knowing and, being specific too, like what is your dream? As a lot of people will say they want to be in Oprah magazine or on Super Soul Sunday or Good Morning America. Like, what is that dream visibility vision for you? And what are you known for with that vision? Like when people are buzzing about you, what are they saying? What are they talking about? So the most important thing to this vision is also feeling it, right? Because my background is in the healing arts, everything we start with in my community is about inner work and alignment. And we have to get you into that energetic frequency of your vision so that it can land, right? And often we'll get into that in a little bit. And key 2 is identifying the things that are stopping you from getting the results you want. So we have to identify that as well today. So really getting clear on your vision and feeling that in your body, energetically holding that frequency for your goals, for your dreams, for your visions, and include your money goal in there too. Like how much do you want to be making every month, every year, right? Holding the frequency for that. And here's just an example. You'll see lots of people that I've worked with as we go through today, because I can tell you this stuff, how great it is all day long. But when you hear it from my clients or people that I've worked with and see their actual experiences of what they've done and accomplished, that's, that speaks volumes. So this was Holly, someone I worked with over 6 months. We revamped her positioning, started getting into her industry trades. She got into Fast Company magazine and she was getting into business publications. And then she booked out her paid speaking schedule for over 2 years. So the key thing to know about everything you're going to learn here is, and everything that I teach in my community, is that it's all free organic traffic, right? There's a lot of paid things you can do out there, but everything you're going to learn about today is free. Yes, it costs you your blood, sweat, and tears to do the work. You have to implement, you have to do the things, but it's totally possible for you to do this. And you'll see again and again, as I keep showing you more and more examples of the people that are doing it, that if they can do it, I can do it. I use these skills as well for myself, then you can do it too. So here's a quote by Maya Angelou. So this is going to lead us into this next section here. So really, we speak, we write, we do language. That is how civilizations heal. These are our ways of communicating. There's not a lot of ways, right? We write and we speak, right? Those are very key places of where you're going to work on your visibility. So the 3 pillars that I, talk about and teach you are through your editorial writing, right? Becoming a copy queen or king, and being able to have effective written language that conveys your voice, your brand, your personal brand, who you are in the world. And there are so many places where you can do this writing, right? So this is just one piece of it. So you're going to see this is why it's so customized to each person that I work with, because depending on your visibility archetype, depending on your strengths, depending on your goals, it truly is a choose your own adventure. There's so many ways you can go on this path. And that's where my gift comes in, of being able to help identify my clients. What is your path? And here are just some of the examples of some of my clients that have written contributing articles and been published in major publications like Backstage. They've been featured in all types of high-profile blogging platforms and even magazines. So another example is someone who I met who is feeling a little stressed with her plate being very full. This is Teresa. So we got her from overwhelmed to focus. So what she needed was a plan, right? She was spreading herself way too thin. So we focused on her visibility plan. She put out her first global press release. She did, a lot of contributing writing, and she's on track to reach millions with her channeled angelic messages. And here are just some other examples of people speaking their messages that started shows, whether that's on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or TikTok, right? Having that, video of you speaking your message is so powerful. And so you've got the written word, you've got speaking, and actually this is a great one here. She just went viral on TikTok. One of her videos, I think, got well over 400,000. It might be way more than that by now, views on one of her videos. And also just not really knowing where to focus, is like, that's a very consistent theme that I have with people that show up. So here's another example of from frustrated to empowered. We have actress Lily Shaw. She tapped into her signature story and inner empowered self. We've got real clarity on the gems in her story and what her signature origin story was. And through putting her out there in that aligned way, getting her in the media, getting her booked on shows, she got her aligned team of reps, including a new manager and agent. So that was all, an evolution of getting the clarity on, as we talked about, the positioning, like how are you putting yourself out there? How do you want to be seen? Right. And then getting in front of the right people at the right time in the right way, so that they want to collaborate with you. They want to work with you. They want to hire you. They want to rep you, whatever it may be. So the other piece we've talked about is, dealing with the media. So there's a lot of things to learn and know about the media. And again, I've been doing this for 25 years. So if you have questions about the media, whether it's traditional media or digital media, you're in the right place. So one thing we want you to know the difference between is earned versus paid, right? So earned means it's editorial. It means that somebody, you have enrolled or enlisted someone in an idea to write about you or to interview you or to feature you, right? So this is what we talk about when we think of the normal, like traditional press, like being interviewed for a magazine or in a newspaper or on the local TV news, right? So that is how we get that is we pitch, we get them excited about what we're doing, and then they book it. They book the interview, they book whatever, the story, whatever it is they're going to do. And then there's paid, of course, which is advertising, right? There is a lot of pay to play out there. I did a little bit on that recently in one of my lives, but I think we could do a whole hour just on pay to play opportunities because there's a lot going out there right now. And even a lot of people claiming that it's PR, but it's actually not. It's advertising. Whenever you're paying for it, right? If you're paying for something to run and be placed, that is a paid tool. That is not earned, right? So there's a lot of pay to play. It's getting a lot of gray areas out there now with the press and people not really understanding what is real press, what is paid, what is a sponsored article versus a real editorial article. It can be very confusing if you don't know how to read between the lines on this stuff. So that's another thing I help my clients do is get really clear on the right opportunities for them. So we also have traditional media, which we've talked about, which you have, say, your local TV news, there's regional programs, there's national, international, right? So there's lots of different levels within that traditional media, starting with your own backyard, your local media. Now we also have new media. That's where we fall more under the blogs and the podcasts. High profile blogging sites, right? Anything that's more digital. Of course, traditional media also has the online platforms as well. Pretty much any hit you get these days will also have a new media component. And when I say hit, that means a result of like an article or an interview. So again, here are just some more examples from some of my clients, helping them get in like top tier mainstream press from anything from CNN to People, LA Times, Hollywood Reporter, In Touch Weekly, right? I mean, it just runs the gamut. And sometimes we do PR stunts, we do celebrity, gifting suites or events to help them secure some of this press. And then we, teach them how to book, to get into the studios, how to actually get interviewed. So here's a whole bevy of examples. And so truly, this is about you creating your media empire, right? Amplifying your voice to share your message and your soul-aligned personal brand in a very strategic way. And as I said, it's a choose your own adventure. It's not the same path. It's not cookie cutter for everyone. There are certain things that we do on a trajectory, but within that, there's customization. So why is this important now? So this is the big, like my big platform out there in the world, you'll hear me talking about all the time, is I'm really working to shift the perspective that this stuff is for later, right? This is the thing. This is the work that gets you known, to get you to that high profile visibility goal of being that industry leader, right? You don't wait and do this stuff when you get there. This is the stuff that actually gets you to that place. So if you haven't started this work already and you don't start it now, where are you going to be in another 6 months? Just spinning your wheels in the same place, right? So this is the key of getting your plan together for your visibility. So we're going to jump into key number 2. Okay, so this is really important. And as I said, I have a background in the healing arts too. So this is where, after 2 decades of getting great results for my PR agency clients and realizing I was going to go online, I was like, how do I bottle this stuff up and teach it? And I realized, because so much of it was because of my background in the healing arts and the spiritual principles that I was using and tools to get the great results for my clients, right? So this is where I always say everything we start with here is inner work, alignment, getting you into that clear place of your vision and clearing any blocks that are stopping you. We want to create from holding the energy of the vision that you have, not from the place of the blocks. So really, wanting you to know that you can start having and living your dream today, right? And feeling really into that of what is your dream, and live as if the world needs you and your gifts, right? Whatever you're out there to share is critical. And we're all being called into our purposes now more than ever in a deeper way. That's a big part of my pandemic story. And the reason I started doing this was because I was called into my purpose in a deeper way because the pandemic hit and my PR agency, like the events were canceled. And it was like, wow, I've always been a master at thriving in uncertainty. And I want to step up, like 3 of my 4 grandparents who enlisted in World War II and our last global crisis. I want to step up and I want to help people thrive in uncertainty. So I'm going to teach them how to do that. And that's where this all, why we're here today. This is kind of where this all started. So there are people literally praying for you right now and what you have. They're looking for you. So what is keeping you playing small, right? And what I have discovered is it's likely one of 2 things. And, that often is keeping you in that struggle, hustle cycle of being exhausted, maybe broke, or not having as much prosperity as you'd like to have in your life for you, your family. All right. So number 1, you're waiting. So the biggest mistake I see is, as we discussed a little while ago, that this is for now, right? This is, if you don't move through this waiting period, thinking it's for later, you're going to stay stuck spinning your wheels, right? That is a belief system. This is for later, right? So stop waiting. That's number 1. Let's get you taking action today. And the stopping. So maybe some of you have done some of this work. You've put yourself out there a little bit. You've done a little PR, a little marketing, whatever it may be, a little branding, but then you stop. Maybe you even had some good wins, but you stop, right? This is something that you must build into your daily activity, weekly, monthly, year-round of your business. So I always say that it works when you work it, right? So if you're doing PR or visibility, right, that is when you keep working it, that's when you get the results. So don't stop, don't wait, and don't stop. So that's, the big message in terms of what might be holding you back right now is just these 2 simple things. We've got to get you moving. So now, why do you think you might be holding yourself back? Of course, it goes deeper, right? It often comes down to limited thinking or fears and or not knowing the steps, right? 99% of the women that I work with, I do work with some men too, mostly women, they say they just want to know the steps of what to do and how to do it. And then usually there's a little bit of alignment that we need to check in on there and find out, okay, well, what are the things blocking you? Also, when it comes to mindset or alignment. And I've got a whole list of them. These are actual words from my people I've worked with. So, often, again, it's, I'm not ready. I'm not really an expert. There's a lot of fear, right? A lot of limiting thoughts come up, worried about trolls, haters, not good enough, being rejected, right? So, just look at these and see like, oh my gosh, are these some of the thoughts spinning around in my own head? So then this shows up either as analysis paralysis, right? We just don't make any decisions. We don't take any action. Or it could be perfectionism. This is another big one. Like, well, I'll do it when this is ready and when everything's perfect. No, nothing's ever going to be perfect, right? That's life. We just have to start now. Imposter syndrome, right? Fearing that you're going to get found out as a fraud or like, who am I to do this, right? And then there's the compare and despair, but there's so many other people out there better qualified to do it than me. No, we're going to throw all of these out the window today. These are the things that are absolutely holding you back from getting to your goals and your dreams. So I call it flipping the switch. It's a choice, right? It doesn't mean that these thoughts aren't going to come up again, but it's how we choose to move through them and take action. So think about the opposite of what your limiter is. Like, what is the thing stopping you? What are the thoughts? And flip the switch, right? Change the script. Say the opposite, right? You've got to start shifting internally to get to that next place. You can do this in your journal. You can do this in the chat, right? So flip the switch on your limiting belief or fear. All right. So someone who did this incredibly well, literally broke out in hives, and we talked about her getting more visible. And she'll share this. She has shared this story in my community as well. I could see her like getting red all across her chest. And she jumped in and she said, I'm going to do it. She faced the fears. She did it anyway. She claimed her worth. She also is a consultant, actress and consultant. She increased her consulting rates by 100%. And she ended up being in 2 big Hollywood blockbusters. So she just dove in head first and, from literally going from hives to being the most visible you could possibly be in big movie summer blockbusters. And I also say that I can relate to any of you who have anything holding you back as well, because I am an introvert. So this was not normal for me to be putting myself out there in this way, but now I do it all the time. I was behind the scenes. These are some pictures from, 2 decades in my PR agency work, working with all types of high profile people, celebrities on red carpets, Oscar winners, award winners. There's, from work, you see Morgan Freeman down here in the corner to being on the Oscars red carpet up here on the right. And you name it, I was doing it, but I also did not like being in the spotlight. So I always put my clients into the forefront. In 2 decades, there's not a lot more than these photos. That's the sad part. I rubbed a lot of elbows, worked with a lot of high profile people, but I never wanted to be on camera. I never wanted to take pictures. So luckily there is some proof out there, and here's just some of it. So the next piece of that is that, when, my grandmother passed away, it's like almost 6 years ago now, I think. I really had a big moment in my life where I did not know what to do next. I had so much grief. It threw me off for like a year. And she was like one of my best friends. I totally loved her. Just a wonderful woman. And I was there at her bedside when her spirit left her body, and it really crushed me. And she was always one of my biggest cheerleaders. She always, said I should write more and I should be out there more in the world and doing more. And so I really wanted to make her proud. And so I went on a soul searching trip to Bali. That's when I started seeing on Instagram. I was like, oh, there's all these people online and they're doing their thing online. And I was like, I think I could do that. Right. So I decided I was going to start doing some online stuff, but I was not even going to have my photo on my website. That's how introverted and behind the scenes I was. So for any of you today saying, oh, she's in PR, that's how it's easy for her. Yeah, no, I totally get it. I've talked people off the ledge for 25 years, going on camera and getting in front of the spotlight. And then I had to take my own medicine. So I did it. I've been putting myself out there and, doing things with, helping people see PR and visibility in a more spiritually centered way. I work with all heart-centered and purpose-driven people in my community. So we say we do this without selling our souls. And now I get to have events and clients from around the world and help people. I've been able to get my own visibility out there in a much bigger way and just connect and help a lot more people. So that's my message to you: is get over it, get over those limiting beliefs and fears, and start today. Blast through those limiting beliefs and do it. And oops, why is it not going? Hold on 1 second. I'm going to stop the share because we seem to have a little glitch happening. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Just the joy of, here we go. Go back into screen share. The joy of tech. And this, I get used to rolling with the punches, right? You cannot be a perfectionist. I'm a recovering perfectionist, right? So we just roll with it. Okay. So, and is it going to still glitch on me? It's still glitching. All right, hold on 1 second, everybody. Un momentito. I've got you all on this cliffhanger now. Okay, so actually I'm going to jump to this other file because I think this is where we need to be now. Okay, so I see what's happening. All right, let me get back into screen share. And just 1 second. It's happening, I promise. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. Okay.
Can I just say something, Heather?
Yeah.
I absolutely love, when you're encouraging all of us to just, it's not going to be perfect. You're a recovering perfectionist and the universe comes and just slams you with a little glitch on the computer and you're handling it with such grace. So thank you. Thanks for showing us that it's not the end of the world when one little thing happens.
Yeah, it's not. Great point. Thank you, Carolyn, for that comment. I received that. Yeah, it's not about being perfect and we have to go with the flow. And it's the choice. Like I said, with the shifting the beliefs, right? It's how we respond to the thing that happens. It doesn't mean you're never going to have those fears or thoughts again, but you're just going to be better resourced in how to respond to them. So instead of falling apart, right? We roll with it. We move through it and we make a choice. So here we go. Okay, so we're going to dive into key number 3, right? So this is about setting and launching your PR action plan to monetize your magic. Okay, so I want you all to know that there is money in your message, right? So this is the thing that you do. There is a way to monetize it. Most of you probably already are in some way. And the cool thing is, the more you lean into your purpose, your message, right, putting yourself out there in the world in a bigger way, more opportunities come to you. And that's where the currency comes in, right? So we're going to get into this a little bit. So if you think about this aligned visibility that we're talking about, so this is not about putting yourself out there in any other way than who you authentically already are. This is why you'll hear me talk about shining a lot. We're just shining your light of who you are in a bigger way. It's not about you changing or being someone else or doing things differently or doing things because people say you should do them, right? This is about aligned visibility and connection or community, right? And that's where the currency starts to come in with more ease and grace. So Kriya is a wonderful example. She's also the one who was going viral, I was mentioning earlier on TikTok. She has doubled her income and her audience. In fact, it's probably way more than doubling at this point. She is a teen addiction prevention specialist and is known as the Teen Whisperer. That was some branding that we really leaned into for her. And she chose to step into the spotlight and she really amplified everything in her life. And she said, most importantly, she loves what she sees when she Googles herself. So truly, this is to simplify it, because I know I'm giving you a lot of information. Share your message with the right audience in the right way at the right time, right? That's the first piece. And then we want you to leverage your results. So focusing on your visibility superpowers, again, you can take that shinesuperpower.com quiz if you don't know your visibility superpower archetype yet. And then we want you to monetize. And so we have Teresa B. I feel like we already saw Teresa B. So she must be in here a couple times. So obviously a very good case study that we repeated her. But yes, on track to reach millions with her message. And she said the biggest thing I helped her with was getting clarity and focus where she was putting her time and energy, and really feeling happy with how her business had evolved in that time of working together. She was actually enjoying her work instead of feeling overwhelmed by it. Okay, so really this is key, leveraging your wins. This is like a whole piece of, a whole module and pillar that I teach. So really knowing how to capitalize on any of your visibility wins, truly, but a lot of it comes down to the press. A lot of people that come to me, it's because they want that visibility in the media. And again, remembering that good PR, good public relations, good publicity is the thing that gets you known and puts you in the position to make more money. So let's talk about creating your PR plan, because I love this quote: a goal without a plan is just a wish. Okay, so 2 types of pitching that you need to know about when you're putting yourself out there when it comes to the media, especially, and could be new media, the digital or the traditional cover. This is for everything. The 2 types are evergreen and campaign focused, right? So evergreen is year round. So again, this is not about waiting. You can be pitching something about you and your expertise now, year round. And then when so you're building up that audience and that profile, like throughout time, right? It's not like it has to be a scramble. Like you're doing it slowly and steadily, consistently, persistently over time. Then when you have what we would say maybe a push, like for something, like you have a project, something time sensitive, a campaign to do around something, right? That's where you do a more intense, focused push or focused campaign at that time, right? So those are the 2 main things that I will be teaching you how to do. And knowing your lead times is really important, right? So if it's a short lead, typically we're talking 8 to 12 weeks out is when you need to be planning and starting to organize and then pitching. And then the long lead, which is typically 4 to 6 months. So the difference between short and long lead is knowing which is which. So long lead would be like magazines. If you want to be in a magazine on a newsstand, or sometimes certain newspapers have special issues like holiday gift guides or things like that, those often can have 4 to 6 month lead times, which means you need to pitch them and also be interviewed and all the materials and everything in 4 to 6 months before it even goes to press or hits the newsstand. Short lead is going to be more, the quick hits, the online, right? Daily newspapers, radio, right? Those kind of things, or, a lot of TV news, like those are usually pretty quick turnaround. So really what you need to think about is your calendar, your PR timeline. So what's happening for you in the next 6 to 8 months, right? So that's where, one, you can be pitching things every month, tied to your expertise. Sometimes you can tie it into national holidays. There's now like a national holiday for single thing you could ever imagine. So not just the usuals, but not just like Valentine's Day, but there's like, chocolate day. There's a day for everything, right? So it's figuring out what your expertise can tie into year round and creating that, plan to pitch yourself regularly. And then for the big things, maybe you have a book coming out or a film or a TV show or whatever it may be. You're rolling out a new program or something for your business, right? You opened a new something, like if you're brick and mortar, right? A new location. So all of those things would be more project focused. And you want to reverse engineer from all of these things that you end up putting into your calendar and your timeline to start the pitching well in advance. So here's another example of Lily. She tapped into her signature story. I feel like we saw Lily too. Maybe we have a couple of repeats in here. Again, it doesn't hurt to see it again, that she got herself in the media, on podcasts, started talking about women's empowerment, right? That's a stand she's taking as an actress, and also challenges of, being an immigrant and a woman of color in the industry, right? So that really helped her make a name for herself within the media. So hopefully now this helps you understand how you can shine online, right? That you can absolutely do this. I've given you lots of examples of people who are doing it. I'm going to go a little bit more into like how this actually works. So it's really about you getting to go from invisible to influential, right? Or unknown to unforgettable. So if you're interested, I can tell you a little bit more about my system that's going to help you magnetize that dream audience, build your business with ease, and step deeper into your power and purpose. So it's all focused around these 6 pillars to shine online. Now, we don't have time to go too deeply into these today, but I do want to at least touch on them so that you have an idea of what this is about. And so we start with power, right? This is all foundational work, right? You stepping into your power. That's that inner work we talk about, that alignment, the vision, and the plan. Like, what is your strategy and plan for the next 6 to 12 months? Really finding your voice, clarity in your purpose, your messaging, right? Your shine. That's how you put yourself out there. How are you packaging and presenting yourself to the world? Do you have the right collateral, right, to do this work? Do you have your press kit? Do you have a speaker sheet? Do you have the reels? Do you have whatever it is that you need to be reaching the right people? Then we also talk about service a lot, because this is really important. This is where you monetize your magic. So when you shift whatever it is that you're doing, if you're going to be serving people in the world, then it becomes about them, not about you. And that was the biggest thing that helped me move through my fears and insecurities of being out in front in the spotlight, was that I realized I can help people like you who showed up today that want this information, right? That need this information. So whatever it is you're doing for the creatives, right? It's that you're helping, like, looking at your work, like, what are you doing to help your audiences? You're helping them have emotional transformations through your work, right? The business owners, right? You have a special gift and service that you're providing that is changing lives. So however you are doing that in the world, right? That's your service. And we also want to make sure you're monetizing it. So looking at where are the gaps in your monetization? Are you missing some areas where you could be actually monetizing your gifts that you're not? And then, of course, the visibility, right? That's the plans between your owned media, digital media, the traditional media, like what is your specific path that you're taking? And once you do that, how are you leveraging it, going global and getting to that next step? Every time you're, doing something and having those wins, it's like, how are you leveraging it and going to the next level? So this is the system that we use. This is, a very simplified synopsis of how it all works. But just to, let you know, there is a system here that I have created that helps people. And this is another client that I worked with, who we took her from literally like no press. She had one, terrible gossip article out there in the world on her. And I worked with this woman for years, probably over like 5 years time. And we completely evolved her profile and got her in lots of wonderful mainstream press, from Chronicle of Philanthropy to British Vogue, right? Features in like San Francisco Chronicle and all sorts of business publications. So going from having kind of some terrible gossip article written about a wedding, which didn't even make sense, to then getting awarded all sorts of honors, doing a commencement speech. You see her here at Golden State University, being now recognized as a leading global philanthropist and humanitarian. So that was a huge trajectory, going literally from not having anything to now having a whole body of work. And you can see some of the examples. If you ever want a Wikipedia page, they build it off what they call reliable sources and credible sources. So you must be appearing in those types of media outlets to be able to have a Wikipedia page. And these are just some of the examples of what they used to create her Wikipedia page once we got her all that press. The other thing all that press can get you is verification. You see she has the blue check here. A lot of you are looking to get verified on your social platforms. So that being notable and appearing in the press is one way to do that. Now, here's another example. Within 6 months, I worked as a consultant for this husband-wife team. And again, almost zero online presence, and intentionally because they worked in, very highly sensitive cases, cold cases. So they kept a very low profile. And then decided it was time to tell their story and put themselves out there because they had uncovered some really incredible information. And so within 6 months of getting them some strategic press, they caught the attention of William Morris Endeavor, the top talent agency in the world. And they now are in pre-production on a docuseries with a very reputable production company. And I can't say much more than that at this point. I've probably already said too much, but it's happening. The amazing things are happening for them because of the media. This is another project I'm very proud of, which Mama Sarah Obama, who passed in the last year or two, but she was, of course, as you probably know, Barack Obama's grandmother, and I was able to work with her at the United Nations when she came to receive an award and got all sorts of major press for her mission and her legacy plan, which was to raise awareness for her, the orphans and the Kenyans from her home that were, really struggling and needed help from the world. So, this was such an honor to be able to support her in her mission to get the word out. And, it's not always people that are, major global figures, right? This is Sonia, who maybe some of you may have seen her. She's been in a lot of film and TV projects, but, taking someone from more local awareness, she had a local one-woman show one-woman show that she was doing one place at a time. And then we coached her this past year on how to do Breastival. It was a global virtual event. So literally taking her from local to global and partnered with, or not technically partnered, but Susan G. Komen was the recipient for the event for any donations. So that was an incredible partnership on some level, and going from actually local to global with her own visibility. So again, my programs are really for business owners, consultants, creatives who are ready to shatter their visibility, impact, and income goals, really getting out there. So something you could do in the chat, or if you want to write it down in your notebook, really take a moment to identify what are the next 2 to 3 action steps based on the gaps you've identified in your own visibility efforts today, right? We've given you a lot of information in a short time, but this is going to be where the rubber hits the road. And so really identifying what are those 2 to 3 action steps or gaps that you need to take. And the thing I'm going to do for anyone who's here today or watching on the replay is I've opened up a few spots over the next few days to do PR action plan calls. So if you would like to connect with me to help get a little more clarity on what those action steps need to be, if you know they're the gaps, that's going to be great, because then we can look at what you've got going on and say, okay, this is what needs to happen. And I, really appreciate all of you coming out today. I see some thank yous coming through here. Carolyn says, I want to thank you for such a remarkable and insightful presentation. So much to learn and implement. Yes, absolutely. So thank you. Thank you all for being here today. So yes, my gift to you is to book in for your PR action plan call so we can get you clarity on what those next steps can be. And if it does feel like a fit for us to work together, I have different options and ways that can happen. And we can talk about if feels like a mutual fit, we can talk about what those options might be. All right. So I'll just take a quick look here to see if anyone has. I see the link is going in there. Thank you, Nora. If I'm going to go into stopping the share here.
Thank you very much, Heather. It was a wonderful program and
Oh,
insight.
thank you so much. I appreciate. Oh, Andy. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Wonderful.
I enjoyed it a lot. Thanks.
Anyone who has, if anyone has questions, you can feel free to pop them in the chat, or, this will also be in the Facebook group on replay. So I always love to go in. You can hashtag replay if you're watching this on the replay. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments there, and I always will go back and check those as well. Yeah. So wonderful. Okay. So I think I don't see any more questions coming in at this point. So we'll keep it nice and tight. Yeah, we did a power hour here. So happy to see you all, and thanks for coming out. So hopefully that gave you a little more insight on how you can shine online, how you can get started with your visibility today, why it's important not to wait any longer to get moving on this, and that I'm here to support you in figuring out what is your actual action plan for your visibility archetype. So again, you can also go take that shinesuperpower.com quiz if you don't know yours. And if you do know yours, that's great. We can talk about that in the call as well. Wonderful. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I wish you a beautiful, thank you. I wish you a beautiful day, and we'll see you in the group, in the community. Have a great one. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.